Com here with Steve Monahan, NFL Week 17 show. Of course, the Miami-Louisiana Tech game not kicked off yet, but on the docket to start in a couple minutes. So we'll kind of live do that while we're doing some NFL picks. So Steve headed into Week 17. Not a ton to be decided here, just some home field kind of housekeeping. Only really one playoff spot up for grabs. Well, maybe two, right?
There's a couple, but I think I got to lead with the Cowboys, Eagles, NFC East. Ridiculous. I took the Eagles against my beloved Dallas Cowboys. It was not disproven, but the Eagles got work to do. They got to go up the turnpike to Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium. Chances are they're going to win. I mean, they're 4.5, I think, is the spread. Cowboys have the Redskins. They're hosting. It's really a sad state that the Dallas Cowboys are sitting here, got to win, beat the Redskins, and hope the Eagles lose to the Giants.
There's a chance they both
of
lose.
that happening are next to nothing. And you know what? The Cowboys deserve to be exactly where they're at.
There's a chance that both lose. I mean, there's a solid chance that both lose.
Yeah, obviously there's a chance. I just don't see it, though. I think the Eagles go in. Listen, Daniel Jones, let's talk about this kid, while we're waiting for our audience. Again, we talked about him all year. Number 6 draft pick by the Giants. Was I down with the number 6 pick for Daniel Jones? Absolutely not. But the only reason I bring it up is you see a performance, and as bad as the Redskins are, and I'm saying that, to be a rookie quarterback and go basically 27 for 45 for 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, that's uncharted territory as a rookie. I don't know. He could be a viable quarterback going forward. Giants have a lot of holes. I just want to acknowledge that. I mean, that's uncharted territory for a rookie quarterback. What do you think?
It sucks. I think that he's terrible, and it's like just an aberration. Any performances like that only damage the future of this team. Just make that decision to pull the plug that much more difficult down the road, because you see that maybe he has the potential if they play a team with 2 wins on the season.
I said maybe. I am not.
How many wins? How many wins does the Redskins have, and how much of that? I mean, let's look at this Redskins defense that he did this against, and let's be realistic. I just think that you look at a guy like that, and when he does put numbers together like that, it's more of a detriment than a help. It just is.
I'm kind of torn, to be honest with you. But I had to throw it out there. That's a pretty good day at the office. I don't care if you're Drew Brees, Dan Marino, Tom Brady, Roger Staubach, Johnny Unitas. That's a good day at the office. And again, the Redskins are an NFL team. You're only as good as what you play against.
Their middle of the pack defense, is really where they are passing wise. I don't know. I think it hurts, I think it hurts. I think the Giants are headed nowhere fast. I think when you rely on a guy like Daniel Jones, you're just writing your own, how many head coaches are they going to go through with this guy? A lot.
To be determined on Pat Shurmur, but I got to think the general consensus is he's not surviving.
Yeah, I mean, how many, the Giants have had no consistency anywhere. So I just don't see, unless they get him some quality receivers and an offensive line, it's going to be very, very hard for him to have any kind of long-term viability as a pocket passer type, Just not really what the Giants are. The Giants, they're a traditional offense without the traditional players that you need. I mean, they haven't had a real offensive line since Jumbo Elliott and Bart Oates. I mean, they really haven't. And I think that,
No, I don't think that's fair. I think, Sean O'Hara and David Deal, and they won a Super Bowl. Did they not?
They won a Super Bowl. It's
as good as that line in '86. No, I will not say that, but that's what they have to fix. The Giants have an awful lot of holes. My only point about Daniel Jones is maybe he's not the problem.
Well, maybe even Ryan Tannehill has had good games, and maybe even Blake Bortles has had good games. I mean, when you look, Blake Bortles made it to the AFC Championship game. Does that make him the solution for a long-term solution? I don't even know what team he's on anymore.
It's a backup in the Rams.
Oof.
Just in case Goff got hurt. Just in case.
Where the hell's Bortles? Bortles, get away from that Gatorade!
Bortles!
I wonder what Bortles is pulling down to stand by the Gatorade every week.
So I just wanted to throw that out. Again, Daniel Jones as the rookie quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, right, and obviously Lamar Jackson in this class. Well, the class before, only 2 years out with Darnold. These are the young guns, and these guys are going to be the quarterbacks. It seems like going forward for the next at least rookie contract, 4 to 5 years. Right?
It'll be a long 4 to 5 years for those Giant fans. Gonna have to raise the price of those chicken fingers. Wow, is Miami just sloppy tackling? Louisiana Tech first play reels off a long one.
That's very unlike Miami.
I just never agree with this, like laying the shoulder into the guy instead of wrapping him up. I never understood that.
As a football coach, I'm a big rap guy.
Yeah. As a football fan, I'm a big rap guy. I never understand this lowering the Oh!
Ouch.
That's what you call a QB sack. But anyways, let's get into the schedule. It's going to have a light crowd for today's show. Nothing wrong with that.
That's fine.
Week 17. I didn't really advertise the show. We got the Chiefs and the Chargers, 1 o'clock game. Chiefs need this one to stay any chance of the 2 seed in the AFC. And they need a win and a New England loss. They also need they need a win and a New England loss. I mean, basically that's what it boils down to. They're 9-point favorites here against a Chargers team looking at square in the face at 5-11 if they lose. The draft order.
Did Phillip Rivers last game as a Charger?
I don't know about. I'm not hearing it. Is that what we're hearing?
I'm not hearing it either. But let's be real. What, they're going to go into year 39?
A loss. Well, they're sitting in about a top 10 to 12 draft choice spot. There's a lot of teams in there at 5-10, 5-9-1 for the Cardinals. Panthers at 5-10, the Jags 5-10. Then you got a lot of 6-win teams in there. But 9 points here with the.
I'm all on the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I'm not a big Chiefs guy.
They got something to play for. Obviously, the Chargers don't.
Yeah, I'm not a big Chiefs guy.
I don't have any inside info that Phillip this is his last game, but I think that's food for thought.
Yeah,
maybe he decides enough is enough.
Chargers are lousy. They turn the ball over so much. Oh, another sack.
Samba.
Oof. Yeah, that's how you turn. In scoring position into 4th and let's see, 4th and 40. I'm gonna guess they're gonna punt, but this is the Manny Diaz defense that you expect to see, and even though Miami's missing their 2 top pass rushers here, clearly they can beat La Tech off the line, in the trenches. Go to our next game. Another one means a lot in the AFC as far as home field, bye, all that other stuff. Patriots and the Dolphins. Dolphins traditionally split with the Patriots, but they lost that game in Miami. They played early this year in Miami. Normally it's the other way around, early in New England, late in Miami. This year it's the opposite, early in Miami, late in New England. Miami, 69% of the public on the Dolphins here at 16-point dogs. The line's dropped from 16.5 to 16. Probably a little bit of respect for the way the Dolphins play the Patriots. Also, the Dolphins, mad coverers of the spread recently, 7-3 against the number in their last 10. The Patriots just 5-4.
Back and forth on this one. Again, the Pats have the division wrapped up. The Ravens, home field throughout. Is New England gonna, play a half, 3 quarters? Dolphins, they've been playing good. You got the beard.
But they got a lot to play for. If they lose this game and the Chiefs win, then they play an extra week.
Yeah.
And then the next week they go to the road to Kansas City, where they don't want to go, because normally when you beat a team on some bad calls, and stuff like that, you want to come back and you want to prove that it wasn't a fluke,
You know what? I'm going with the Pats here. They're home. I think their engine gets revved up. Dolphins played their Super Bowl last week against the Bengals. Bengals won, even though they lost, type of thing.
Overtime. It was a beauty.
Right? But I'll give the Bengals credit for competitive fortitude there. But I think the Pats show up. They're going to practice here. It's a big spread, but I can see the Pats winning by 17 at least here. I'm going to go with the Pats.
I'm going to take the Dolphins in the points. I don't know. This is a coin flip game. I haven't done any videos of any of the NFL this week. I've been kind of doing last-minute videos because what I'm trying to do is do so many videos, and I'm just covering them all late. And it seems that the response to doing it that way seems to be really good, so I'm going to continue doing it that way. So this is my first look at a lot of these games, and I just think that the Dolphins, they're terrible on the road, just 1-6. But I could see New England getting some crappy calls if push comes to shove. And I think there will be some bad calls in this game, and they'll all go in New England's favor. We have, I just want to remind everyone, the Puck Dogs are back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. They've been off since Monday. They're chomping at the bit. Rod posted a picture of the prime rib that he was eating on Christmas Day.
He did.
Yeah,
look quite yumptious.
Yeah, but I believe, if the Puck Dogs, thought it was appropriate meal for the Puck Dogs. So he's all proteined up and ready to go for the Friday show. Chris will be here as well for the Friday morning. We have a lot of NHL tomorrow and 6 NBA again, and then Saturday we have 11 or 12 NBA games and 73 college basketball games, 4 college football bowl games, including the playoffs. And Steve and I will be here tomorrow doing college football bowl previews for all the rest of the games. Who do you like tonight, Eastern Michigan and Pitt?
I got to go with Pitt here. I mean, it's Pitt, ACC, Pitt, It's Pitt against Eastern Michigan. Bowl game or not, I know it's 13 points. Just got to think Pitt is going to show up and lay it to Eastern Michigan. I'm going to go with Pitt.
I think it's just such a tough game. It's because Eastern Michigan generally covers those big spreads, and
but
the weird thing is
still picks a Pitt every week.
Pitt's played in a lot of low-scoring games.
And I'm not saying this is Pitt of Dan Marino, Tony Dorsett, and Hugh Green, and the Freilich, and on, and Larry Fitzgerald. But come on, Pitt. Pitt was 7-5. They were in several games that they lost. Played tough schedule, Penn State amongst them, that type of thing. I got to think Pitt's a 14-point favorite here. 13, but win by 2 touchdowns. I go with Pitt.
I just like the over here. Eastern Michigan and Pitt have been in some high. Eastern Michigan has been in some high-scoring games this year. Pitt really hasn't, but it's just not a running Pitt team. It's a throwing team, and I think that in this game would probably be one of those zany bowl games. It has one of those chances of being that type of game, and usually those zany games getting that many points. I don't know. I'm back and forth. I didn't really give a pick out on that game anywhere. I'm more interested in the walk-on Independence Bowl. For me as a Miami fan, this hurts. Watching the Canes in this type of game. This is about the second worst bowl game, I think. I've seen bowl games where the Canes... I
was going to ask you, in bowl lore of your tenure of loving the Miami Hurricanes, this isn't Bernie Kosar and Turner Gill and the Orange Bowl.
No. This is the second worst of the bowl appearances. I've seen the Canes in other games, and I've seen the Canes.
Sun Bowl. I remember a Sun Bowl.
Yeah, well, Sun Bowl is actually way better game than this. The Sun Bowl is the oldest bowl game.
It might have been during the Gino Torretta era.
No, they've been in the Sun Bowl actually a couple times. They've been in the Sun Bowl a couple times, and so has Notre Dame's been in it a bunch too. But the Sun Bowl is actually
crap bowl on Saturday at freaking 12 o'clock. I mean, come on.
The bowls are the Sun Bowl is the oldest bowl game, so it's really not that bad of a bowl. This walk-on Independence Bowl is the second worst bowl appearance that I remember for the Hurricanes. The worst one being the worst bowl appearance was Larry Coker's final game on the blue turf in Boise. Now that was the worst one. It's like for your consolation prize for your last game at Miami as a lame duck head coach, he was already fired and he was still coaching. You're, as a final tribute, we'll wheel you out onto the 10-degree blue turf in Boise for your final game. It was like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing. And Randy Shannon, when they came back from the ashes with him, Emerald Bowl was their first bowl that they went back to, and that's the bowl where it was like in the baseball stadium where both teams are on the same side of the field, ridiculous one. There was that one, and then but the Canes have had a history of not showing up in bowl games, of just deciding they don't want to play anymore. The year that they lost to Notre Dame at Miami, and they had, clearly they were the top one or two teams in the country, and Notre Dame wouldn't rematch them, and they played West Virginia, Major Harris's team. Miami went out to Arizona.
That's like 1988.
They went out to Arizona and they played in the Fiesta, and they just sat down. They just sat down. They didn't. They just wouldn't. I mean, it was like a walk-through scrimmage, and Teddy Bruschi acted like he had, just conquered the world or something. But the reality of it was that, we didn't really. The Canes just didn't even show. It was 38-0. And they've had a lot of games like that. The recent games against Wisconsin and the Camping World Bowls, they don't show up in those games. But I think that this is a little different because this is a younger team and kind of a hungry team and kind of a team that really didn't have a great year, and they kind of want to show something. So
they're also playing Louisiana Tech. Okay. They're not playing Wisconsin. They're not playing...
No, I know. These are the teams that they roll over. But we'll get rolling. They've got the Panthers and the Saints. The Panthers plus 13. Man, one of the more disappointing teams.
Saints plus 13, right?
Saints minus 13.
Minus 13.
Yeah. One of the more disappointing teams out there this year was the Panthers. Ron Rivera, of course, gone. Cam Newton could be going too. They're still interviewing candidates.
I think he's out. I do. I think Carolina with the new owner, I think they clean house. There's no upside in bringing Cam Newton back.
So here's one for Carolina, okay? And this has been the rumor for the last 20 years, okay? Here's the 20-year-old rumor that we're not hearing about this time around. And Bill Cowher to Carolina. We've heard this rumor for 20 years. And this time the coaching job is wide open and not a peep of Bill Cowher? I don't know, man. I like the jaw in Carolina. I think that it would be a real statement move by them, even if it's just a 3 or 4 year stint. I
don't think the jaw comes back. I know McCarthy has interviewed at Carolina. I'm not saying it's a done deal. I'm sure McCarthy's going to have multiple interviews and then pick his destination. But the fact of the matter is, I think McCarthy would probably have pretty much control over football operations, and I'm sure that's part of his, allure.
If you're Carolina, do you at least pick up the phone and call Cowher's agent here?
Of course.
If there's any mild interest.
The only reason I say that about the Jaw is if the Jaw was going to come back, I think the Jaw would have already come back maybe 5 years ago. I think the Jaw's got a Super Bowl title. He's a football guy. He's a family guy. You know, Bill Cowher's a good guy, right? I mean, what is Cowher now? He's, you know, I'm just assuming, top of my head, 62, 61.
I mean, John Gruden walked away for how long? 9 years, right?
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of money out there that can entice anybody to come back. But I think Bill Cowher was just like a football guy that.
But this is his local team. This is his local team. This was always the job that he was always associated with. That this was the one.
Sure.
And it's kind of like, if you haven't hired anybody by now, what are you waiting for?
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they called him. I'm sure he's entertaining it.
Well,
but. You know.
I think I should be a coach's agent, you know. I think that maybe I'm missing my calling here, you know.
Right.
I should just it could be like the scene in City Slickers, you know, the two ice cream guys. It's like hot dogs and beans. Oh, come on, scoop of chocolate, scoop of vanilla. It's like prime rib, lamb, mint jelly, rum raisin. It's like, nailed it. It's like, how do you know he's right? 35 million gallons sold. I think I could do the same thing with head coaches. I like Bill Cowher in Carolina. I don't even see anybody else that you could put there. You had a defensive guy, so you're going to have to go to an offensive guy then, you know? And who can you put there? You had a really strong coach there. It's like, who can you know?
I just said Mike McCarthy is not out of the realm of possibility.
He just got pushed around in Green Bay. I mean, coming out of a strong arm coach, you know, there.
Another thing about Mike McCarthy is he's been sitting on the sidelines for a year. He's a smart guy. He probably took a step back. His ego got big in Green Bay. It got stale. Rodgers was tuning him out. All he had was all year to just sit there and watch film and do this. And Mike McCarthy's a sharp guy. And I tell you what, I'm really not discounting Carolina as the best.
I don't like McCarthy in that spot. I think McCarthy's a fine coach, but I don't think that's his place.
No, I think Freddie Kitchens is going to be out, and Cleveland is probably going to be in the mix for a Mike McCarthy type.
God, it's like they just wheel out the McCarthy types there.
John Dorsey is a very in control GM. My point is, I think McCarthy lands in a spot where McCarthy is going to really have some say. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are not even going to be in the mix for a Mike McCarthy, that type of thing. You know.
So how about the Panthers and the Saints here? Do you think the Panthers show any signs of life for the season finale?
It's 13 points for the Saints. I think the Saints shot their load.
They need this one.
I know they do. But I think the Panthers being home, I think they make it competitive. I think I got to take the Panthers here. It's 13 points. They're home. The Saints win the game. But I got to go with the Panthers here.
I'm taking the Saints. Panthers was bad this season.
They're bad.
Vikings against the Bears. The Vikings laying 1. My guess is that they're sitting everybody. This game's gone from 7-1. The Vikings, I believe, have nothing to play for at this point.
Yeah, they're already locked and loaded.
They're going to either San Francisco, Seattle, or Green Bay next week.
Yep. But it's at the Vikings, and it's only 1 point. The Bears been a big disappointment.
They beat the Vikings earlier this season. Minnesota's still a tough building.
I know. I'm going to go with the Vikings, even though that they're going to rest. I have no confidence in the Bears and Trubisky.
It's such a tough one. I think I'm going to take the Bears. I don't know. This is a bad game. Tampa Bay -1 against the Falcons. Jameis. 7-8 for the Bucs. I have to say that at 7-8, if the Bucs get home with this win, 8-8 is really a pretty good year for Bruce Arians' first year in Tampa Bay. It's the ugliest 8-8 you'll ever see. You know, the ugliest at 8-8. When you go 8-8, you could think of probably 5 plays that make you the difference between 10-6 and 8-8. You know, he's probably stewing over these, and we know what they are. They're Jameis Winston, either interceptions or overthrows. And Jameis is not an underthrower, right? He's not an underthrower. He's an overthrower. Hey, how about Jacob Eason declaring for the NFL draft? You talk about the guys that fit into my category of could have used another year of college.
Ooh, somebody's going to get a great second, third round pick on Jacob Eason.
No way. This guy is like practice squad lifer. I mean, this is a guy, he could, who's looking for a good holder, for the extra points? I mean, who's looking for a good holder? I don't even think this guy could be the holder, right? Because he's got to be the emergency QB. He stinks.
So back to the Falcons-Bucs. I think this is Jameis Winston's last game as a Tampa Bay Buck.
Man, you have a lot of free agent quarterbacks this year on your list.
I think he's moving on.
You think 50% of the quarterbacks are moving?
It's going to be a very busy highway of quarterbacks. But I'm going to go with the Falcons. I took the Falcons last week. I just think they're playing good offensive football. I don't know if Dan Quinn survives. You know what? I think Dan Quinn should survive. I think Dan Quinn is a good coach. I do. And I'm going to take the Falcons on the road.
They've been so inconsistent.
They have been. Listen, they were in the Super Bowl 2 freaking years ago. Did they get off to a crap start? Of course they did, but they've come back. He's a defensive guy. Change is going to have to be made on the staff, personnel, the whole thing, and break it down, maybe. But I think Dan Quinn is a really good coach.
I just think there are guys on.
Am I wrong?
I think he's a good coordinator. I just don't think he's a good head coach.
Okay.
The Falcons have the same issues the Falcons have had for a long time.
Who's going to hire that's better than Dan Quinn?
Who are you going to hire that's...
I'm talking specifically.
Specifically? For Atlanta? I think you give Dabo Swinney a call. I think he's local. I think in that same area, you could try Kirby Smart. Same thing. I think that you could try... I think they would give... I don't know.
Try, but these guys aren't leaving. Smart's not leaving Georgia. Dabo's going to go to Alabama as soon as Nick hangs it up. That's a lot. I mean, we don't say locks. I'm sorry. But that's 99.999% going to happen.
I don't know, man. I think...
you know it and I know it.
Ask Prince Charles. I mean, he's been hanging on for how long, here thinking that he's going to get the throne. It just doesn't always work out that way,
I get it.
I mean... not everyone gets the, it's sometimes it's better off to just be Harry,
So Dan Quinn is like a New Jersey native. He's from Morristown, New Jersey. So let's just say day after the Falcons season ends, they can Dan Quinn. Viable candidate for the New York Giants?
I don't think he's done a good enough job. I think he's done a nice job as a coordinator. I think, it's kind of, there are some guys that are just better like that. Todd Bowles is one of them, right? He's just a better defensive coordinator. Rex Ryan, just better defensive coordinator than he's a head coach.
So Dan Quinn doesn't equate to a head coach. You're putting him in with Todd Bowles and Rex Ryan, even though Dan Quinn got to a Super Bowl. And if Matt Ryan doesn't take that freaking sack, the Atlanta Falcons are the Super Bowl champions.
Well, the fact is that you put him in this situation and allowed that to
happen. I'm out there for debate. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is I like him better as a defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I think Ron Rivera is probably going to surface for one of these jobs.
Well, because of the Gettleman connection, definitely. The Giants, specifically.
I like the Falcons also in this one. I don't love them. We got the Bengals and the Browns. This is Andy Dalton's farewell.
It is.
Cincinnati, another guy who, boy, the Canes really racking up the sacks today. Another guy who's, on the farewell tour, and this is it. 1-14 for the Bengals. They wrapped up the first overall pick. It's just a matter of if it's Joe Burrow or Joe Burrow, and 1-6 at home. The Browns 6-9. One of the biggest disappointments in the NFL. Not for me, but for a lot of people out there. Just pathetic.
Yeah.
I think losing in the jungle probably would be a fitting end for the Browns for their season.
Somehow I think they win this game, that they're home. It's a garbage game. The Bengals have already solidified number one. So I don't see them, going the extra effort here. I think the Browns, if they like Freddie Kitchens and want to keep him, I think Freddie Kitchens is trending towards being let go. It's a dysfunctional franchise. If the Browns were on the road, I think I'd take the Bengals, but I'll take the Browns by a touchdown.
I like Ron Rivera for the Browns job.
I think Ron Rivera is going to get hired again as a head coach.
I think here's a guy that kind of is a hard-nosed head coach, and it's like the Browns need someone like that. They need they don't need a player's coach, a T-shirt wearing player's coach. And it's like this do your job crap. We don't want that either, We want a guy in there that says go in there and hit as hard as you possibly can. You want to knock them unconscious on every single play. And it's like we want maximum effort. I mean, I don't know.
Well, in theory, that's great, but and I know. You get these dysfunctional teams, the Browns being the latest, greatest, I got to say, even before the season started, I actually bought Cleveland stock thinking that they could actually compete for the division, meaning 10-6, 9-7, right? Come on, what? They've had 3 wins in the last 39 years, for Christ's sakes, right? And then they spend all this money, Mayfield and OBJ and all this crap, and Myles Garrett.
I'm on the Bengals here, man.
I'm going Browns home.
I'm on the Bengals. I Browns crap. I mean, just a waste of talent. Waste.
Yes, huge.
You don't tell me Bill Belichick's got those wide receivers in that defense that this team's not 14-2 with or without Baker Mayfield.
No, you're right.
Ridiculous. Sad to watch. Nick Chubb it's got everybody.
They're talented. That's what's so frustrating about the
That team is if you play fantasy football, which I don't, I'm gonna guess though that if you're a fantasy owner, you had that lineup like Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, Njoku. If you had that as your fantasy guys, you would think that your roster is stacked, right? You would think
absolutely
that you're stacked. Bills versus the Jets. Jets 6-9 on the season. Just trying to play themselves right out of a nice draft choice here. Kind of take the guesswork out of it. This is where they really draft poorly, is in that 17, 18 spot. This is where we really get to see those Jets draft picks. I think Johnny Mitchell was taken in this ballpark.
I think the Jets are sitting pretty, though. I don't think they've dropped that far.
This could have been where that Anthony Becht pick that they were so proud of also happened.
Out of West Virginia, Anthony Becht, yes.
That was
just a shame that he didn't translate the way they thought he would.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Anthony, career 23 receptions.
They had 5 first-round picks that year, too. They had 4 first-round picks. I don't know, Becht. It was like when the Giants took Eli Apple. It was like, I don't know, all the guys in front of him that were the guys we had on our board. That's exactly what happened. It was
boss likes Apple. The boss likes Apple.
Oh, man.
No, Bills, Jets. I'm all in on the Bills here. It's at Buffalo. I think the Jets will have a. I got to give them credit. They competed against Pittsburgh. I'll give the Jets actually credit that they've battled to 5-6 wins or whatever they're at now. But the Bills got a lot to play for. I think Sean McDermott has talked about him all year. No nonsense coach. Buffalo's home. They're a playoff team. I see them beating the Jets, even if they got to rest some people.
Yeah, I got the Bills too. They're going to Houston next week.
Yeah.
Lions against the Packers. The Packers, 12-3. I mean, this could be the worst 12-3 team I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think you're so far off on that analysis, to be honest.
What they did to the Vikings on Monday night was crazy. They undressed them, but I still have little faith in the Packers.
Me too.
12.5-point road favorites here in Detroit. Detroit's so bad. So bad. Matt Patricia, oh man, is he a horrific coach. The Belichick cast-offs, they're never good. I mean, it's a rare one. Isn't Callahan one of his guys? So he would be the only one.
Oh, Belichick?
Yeah. Callahan
I can't say that for a fact. I'm going to say no. I think Callahan is...
I'm pretty sure he is.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Callahan's been in Dallas as a line coach, the Raiders head coach. He's been Nebraska's head coach. I don't know where he originated from, to be honest.
Ugh. I don't know.
I'm going to say no. At the top of my head, if I knew Callahan was associated with Belichick, I think I would have known it. Not touting myself. I'm just going off intuition here.
I just can't. I mean, most of the Belichick guys are just. I mean, they're just terrible.
Hey, Max Spriggs, Merry Christmas.
So here, the only Belichick guy that's any good is Bill O'Brien. That's really the only one. I'll give him Bill O'Brien, and that's it.
Oh, yeah. And it's taken O'Brien a while to, prove himself.
I mean, he took that Penn State job, so that was pretty gutsy of him.
I'm not discounting. I'm just talking NFL here,
watching this Miami La Tech game on TV, this could be one of the worst college football games I've seen in a while. It's pretty lousy. It's 0-0, and what we've seen on the field, this game could end 0-0. This one could actually go there. I could see it. We saw this game already. We've seen this one a few times this season. 16-12 Miami games. This has that smell to it. They're going for it on fourth down from the opponent's 32 here, 4th and 5. Let's see if they quick kick it. That would be a new wrinkle for the Hurricanes.
I was going to say that's a possibility.
Look at this. Scramble, and a first down. Sometimes,
that's good football.
Probably a
That's
hold.
good football right there.
Probably a hold. I like the Packers here.
Yeah, I think I have to go with the Packers. If Matt Stafford was playing, that might be a different story.
So do you think if Matt Patricia gets fired from the Lions next year, right? Because they already said he's going to stay.
It's got to be next.
Do you think he emerges with his next head coaching job without the beard or something? Like he's one of those guys that he shaves the beard, he's got the new tapers it down.
He's a very smart guy. He's like literally a rocket scientist.
That's why he's got a pencil behind his ear with a laminated card.
That's his stick, and no, I don't see the beard going at all. Regardless, when he's the defensive coordinator back in New England or wherever he is, but he won't be a head coach anytime soon.
Dallas Cowboys 7-8 against the Washington Redskins 3-12, 11 points for Dallas. I'm on the Skins in this one. I don't see it. This Cowboys team is just bad, and it's I bought into it a few weeks ago. I'm just saying to myself, no matter what you see on paper, no matter what you think this team is capable of, no matter what flashes of this or that you see, this is just a very bad team. And that's what we have here. I think the Redskins have a chance to outright them here.
No, I agree. The Cowboys gave everything they had in Philadelphia.
It was pathetic.
Exactly. So, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm objective. Do I think they'll win? I do think they'll beat the Redskins, but not by 11. Not happening. Even though Dwayne Haskins is out, it'll be Case Keenum. And guess what? Case Keenum most likely will probably throw 2 to 3 touchdowns.
He's a Texas guy.
He's a Texas guy.
Rams-Cardinals. The Rams really dominated the Cardinals in the first meeting in Arizona. It was really about as bad as this Miami La Tech game that we're watching now. It was just a one-sided, though, beatdown. It was one of those games, and you see it once in a while. It's kind of like a Bud Foster defense game, where it's just like the Cardinal offense could do nothing, and their defense could do nothing. And it was just one-sided for the Rams. The Rams opened as a 7-point favorite. It's now up to 7.5. I think a lot of people saw that game.
I'm taking the Cardinals.
Taking the Rams.
I think Kyler Murray has another game where he's just going to get better and better. Do I think the Rams will win? Yes, but the Cardinals, listen, Cardinals went into Seattle and beat the Seattle Seahawks.
Rams don't have a lot to play.
Haven't given up.
Yeah, the Rams
nothing to play for.
They have nothing to play for, and they got to be pretty down on themselves. I'll still take them. Giants against the Eagles. Giants plus 4.5. Daniel Jones coming off of that monster game against the Skins. But anyway, you slice it, the Giants are 4-11 this season, 2-5 straight up at home. The Eagles 3-4 on the road, straight up and against the number. Philly wins, they're in. They go to I don't know, whoever's the highest seed playing. It's going to be either Green Bay or San Francisco or New Orleans.
Somebody's coming to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't know how it's settled in the NFC, but Green Bay, San Francisco, and New Orleans are all battling, I guess, for that one home field advantage spot. Somebody's not going to be it. The other one will be...
I'm all in on the Eagles.
No, actually the Eagles will be hosting the loser of the San Francisco-Seattle game.
That's what I said. Somebody's coming to Philadelphia.
It could be Minnesota too, right? Because if it's Minnesota,
we'll see how it plays out Sunday. It's all speculation. See how it plays out. But the Eagles, obviously, they win. They win the division. I'd be foolish not to take the Eagles winning by a touchdown.
We've had teams with losing records win divisions before.
We have.
So this is not the first time that we've seen a 500 team or barely above 500 team, but it's rare. Titans against the Texans. Titans still have some life here. I think if they win, I think if they win, they're in. They would go to Kansas City or New England. Whoever, if New England loses, they would go to New England. If they win, New England loses, they go to New England. If they win, New England wins, they go to Kansas City.
Either way, they're losing first round.
But, we got a Texans team here with nothing to play for, more than likely hosting the Bills next week.
Right. But the fact that they're home, I'm going to take the Texans at home. I've been the last 3, 4, 5 weeks anti-Texans for some reason. But you know what? I think they're the better team than the Titans. I know the Titans have a lot to play for here, but I'll take the Texans at home. Bill O'Brien, you mentioned, a Belichick disciple. I think he always has his team ready. And
he always has horrible backup QBs. Who's his backup QB? He always has the worst.
Awful.
So...
We have to lead with Brock Osweiler again.
Is that who it's going to be?
No, but, he was, Ryan Mallett.
Oh, this actually is not as bad as normal. He's got A.J. McCarron there.
All right, serviceable.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he couldn't make it to in 3 other teams. So
Yeah, but he's a smart kid. National champion Alabama.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What else we got, Mitchell?
I'm gonna take the Titans.
I'm going Texans. Subject to change to our 11 o'clock Sunday show.
All right, let's see what we got. Got the Jags and the Colts. Jags plus 3.5 in this one. Colts trying to get to 500 on the season.
I tell you what, I'm torn on this. This is another dog game here. Jaguars completely dysfunctional. We talked about Coughlin being fired. Doug Marrone's definitely going to be out. The Colts, I went against the Colts last week, and the Colts showed up before you blinked. It was like 35 to, right? 3 or something. And they just absolutely showed up for work. I think I got to go with the Colts on the road here. I think they're just a better team. I think the Jags have quit, and I'm going to go with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts too. I don't like what the Jags have done this season. We got the Broncos up against the Raiders. The Raiders a chance to finish at 500. Also, a shot at the playoffs if they win and the Titans lose.
No, and 3 other things have to happen too.
Oh, well, those 3 things could happen. I think the Steelers need to lose.
They could happen.
The Steelers need to lose.
They're not going to happen.
The Steelers need to lose.
Okay, that's one of the scenarios. Raiders going to the Broncos. I'll take the Broncos at home. Josh Jacobs is out for the Raiders. I think Derek Carr will probably be playing his last game as a Raider. I think Gruden moves on.
You got like the whole slew of free agent quarterbacks this year. The biggest free agent quarterback class in history. Cam
Pretty
Newton,
much.
Andy Dalton. You got Carr. You got who else did you have in here in the mix here? Phil Rivers. You had Jameis Winston. You got pretty much the who's who here.
Yeah.
How about Matt Stafford? Any chance he's gone?
No, not with that price tag. Didn't they sign him until 2079 or something?
Something like that.
Right? No, but I just think the Raiders 7 and 8. They have, there's too much fate. And going to the Broncos, no, I'll take the Broncos at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Broncos too. I like the way that they drove down for the cover last week against the Lions when they needed it.
Yeah.
Steelers against the Ravens. It's a big game for the Steelers potentially.
Yeah.
The Ravens, obviously, this is RG3.
Oh, this is the JV of the Ravens. They've already announced it. And
their JV is better than most people's.
It's pretty good, and it's at Baltimore, too. You know, as much as the Steelers have to play for, the quarterback play is just awful. Awful. This Devlin Hodges really stinks.
He stinks.
Stinks. You know, Mason Rudolph, I don't think he's the worst backup quarterback I've ever seen, but apparently has a shoulder injury. They got no running game, the Steelers. I know they have a lot to play for, but I think I got to go with Baltimore's JV at home here with the 1.5 here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens in this one also, even with the backups.
Right?
We got the big one on Sunday night, Seahawks and 49ers for the West title. Seahawks just getting no respect at all. They've signed Marshawn Lynch. He's back in the fold.
Well, they had to. They got no running backs. They're literally all hurt. Right? Literally.
It's nothing new for the Seahawks.
Yeah, they're not crying wolf or anything.
They beat the Niners in San Francisco. Now they're getting better than a field goal at home. Of course, they looked terrible last time we saw them against the Rams. They looked bad again last week.
Well, you know what? I'm going Seattle here. I think Seattle is going to wake up from their Cardinal experience last week. I've been very happy with the San Francisco 49ers. I think they had a great year. Doesn't mean, they can't continue their story. But the fact that the Niners are on the road at Seattle, I'll take Seattle here. I know Seattle's banged up, but I think Seattle shows up and plays, and I'll take the Seattle Seahawks here and Clappy.
I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the Seahawks as well. I just think that this is gonna be a nail biter. It's gonna come right down to the end. As bad as Seattle's looked at times, San Francisco's looked bad too. Read off the picks. We both took the Chiefs. I took the Dolphins. Steve took the Patriots. I took the Saints. Steve took the Panthers. I got the Bears. Steve's got the Vikings. We both took the Falcons. I got the Bengals. Steve has the Browns. We both have the Bills, Packers, Skins. I got the Rams. Steve has the Cards. I took the Eagles. Did you take the Eagles or Giants?
I got the Eagles.
Eagles for both of us. Titans for me. Texans for Steve. Colts. Broncos for both of us. Ravens for both of us. And Seahawks for both of us. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow going over the rest of the college football bowl games, including the college football playoff games on Saturday. This is Mitch and Steve. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Great day, everybody. Bye-bye.